Gifts he left behind, the Dhamma Legacy of Venerable Luang Paduan, translated by Thanissaro Bhikkhu, a Dhamma welcome, on December 18, 1979, Their Majesties the King and Queen paid a private visit to Luang Paduan. After asking about his health and well-being, and engaging in a Dhamma conversation, the king posed a question: in abandoning the defilements, which ones should be abandoned first? Luang Paduan responded, all the defilements arise together at the mind. Focus right at the mind. Whichever defilement arises first, that's the one to abandon first. And no resistance. Each time, after their majesties came to visit Luang Paduan and had dealt with the purpose of their visit, on taking their leave the king would say, "We request that you keep your aggregates going for more than 100 years, to provide the general public with an object of respect. Can you accept our request?" Even though this was simply a polite formality, and the king's way of giving a blessing to Luang Paduan didn't dare accept, for he couldn't resist the nature of fabricated things. So he would respond, "I'm afraid I can't accept. It all depends on how fabricated things go of their own accord." On the Four Noble Truths, a senior monk of the meditation tradition came to pay his respects to Luang Paduan on the first day of the Rains retreat in 1956. After giving him instruction and a number of teachings on profound matters, Luang Paduan summarized the Four Noble Truths as follows: the mind sent outside is the origination of suffering. The result of the mind sent outside is suffering. The mind seeing the mind is the path. The result of the mind seeing the mind is the cessation of suffering. Above beyond words, a well-read layman was conversing with Luang Paduan, saying, "I firmly believe that in our present day and age, there are not just a few monks who have practiced to the point of reaching the paths, fruitions, and nibbana. So why don't they make their knowledge public, so that those who are interested in the practice will know of the levels of Dhamma they have attained, as a way of giving them encouragement and hope so that they'll accelerate their efforts to the utmost of their ability?" Luang Paduan answered, "Those who have awakened don't talk of what they've awakened to, because it lies above and beyond all words." A warning for heedless monks: a monk who lives heedlessly simply counts his precepts as they're found in the textbooks, proud of himself that he has all of 227 precepts. But as for the number he's actually intent on observing, how many are they? Real, but not for real. It's normal that when people practicing concentration start getting results, they can have their doubts about what they've experienced. For example, when they experience conflicting visions or start seeing parts of their own bodies. Many people came to Luang Paduan, asking him to resolve their doubts or to give them advice on how to continue with their practice. And a lot of people would come to say that when meditating they saw hell or heaven or heavenly mansions, or else a Buddha image inside their body. Was what I saw real? They would ask. Luang Paduan would respond, the vision you saw was real, but what you saw in the vision wasn't. Letting go of visions, the questioner might then ask, you say that all these visions are external, and that I can't yet put them to any use. If I stay stuck simply on the vision, I won't make any further progress. Is it because I've been staying so long with these visions that I can't avoid them? Every time I sit down to meditate, as soon as the mind gathers together, it goes straight to that level. Can you give me some advice on how to let go of visions in an effective way? Luang Paduan would respond, some of these visions can be lots of fun and really absorbing, but but if you stay stuck right there, it's a waste of time. A really simple method for letting go of them is not to look at what you see in the vision, but to look at what's doing the seeing. Then the things you don't want to see will disappear on their own. External things. On December 10, 1981, Luang Puduen participated in the annual celebration at Wat Dhammamunkan on Sukhumvit Road in Bangkok. A large number of temporarily ordained women from a nearby teachers' college came to discuss the results of their vipassana practice, telling him that when their minds settled down they would see a Buddha image in their hearts. Some of them said that they saw the heavenly mansions awaiting them in heaven. Some saw the Kolamani Stupa, a memorial to a relic of the Buddha kept in heaven. They all seemed very proud of their success in their practice of vipassana. Luang Puduen said, "All the things that appeared for you to see are still external. You can't take them as a substantial refuge at all." Stopping to know, in March 1964, a large number of scholarly and meditating monks, the first group of Dhamma missionaries, came to pay their respects to Luang Puduen and to ask for teachings and advice that they could use in their work of spreading the Dhamma. Luang Puduen taught them Dhamma on the ultimate level, both for them to teach others and for them to put into practice themselves so as to reach that level of truth. In conclusion, he gave them a piece of wisdom for them to take and contemplate, no matter how much you think, you won't know. Only when you stop thinking will you know. But still, you have to depend on thinking so as to know. Advancement or destruction. On that occasion, Luang Puduen gave an admonition to the Dhamma missionaries, at one point saying, "When you go out to disseminate and proclaim the Buddha's teachings, it can either lead to the advancement of the religion or to its destruction." The reason I say this is because the person of each Dhamma missionary is the determining factor. If, when you go, you behave in an appropriate way, keeping in mind the fact that you're a contemplative, with manners and behavior corresponding with what's proper for a contemplative, those who see you, if they don't yet have faith, will give rise to faith. As for those who already have faith, your behavior will increase their faith. But as for the missionaries who behave in the opposite fashion, it will destroy the faith of those who have faith, and will drive those who don't yet have faith even further away. So I ask that you be consummate both in your knowledge and your behavior. Don't be heedless or complacent. Whatever you teach people to do, you yourself should also do as an example for them. On the ultimate level there's no desire. Before the Rains retreat in 1953, Luang Pha Tha, a relative of Luang Puduen's who had ordained late in life, returned from many years of wandering with Ajaan Thate and Ajaan Som in Phang Nga province to pay his respects to Luang Puduen and to learn more about meditation practice. He spoke with Luang Puduen on familiar terms, saying, "Now that you've built an ordination hall and this large, beautiful meeting hall, you've probably reaped a really huge amount of merit." Luang Puduen replied, "What I built was built for the general good, the good of the world, of the monastery, and of the religion, that's all. As for reaping the merit, what would I want with merit like this, teaching him a lesson." 6 years after the Second World War was over, the legacy of the war remained in the form of the poverty and difficulties caused by the shortages of food and materials that affected every home. In particular, there was a great shortage of cloth. If a monk or novice had even one complete set of robes, he was fortunate. I was one of a large number of novices living with Luang Puduen. One day novice from another one of Luang Puduen's nephews saw novice Chumpan wearing a beautiful new robe, so he asked him, "Where did you get that robe?" Novice Chumpan told him, "I was taking my turn attending to Luang Paduan. He saw that my robe was torn, so he gave me a new one." When it came Novice Firm's turn to give Luang Pu a foot massage, he wore a torn robe, with the idea that he'd get a new robe, too. When he had finished his duties and was leaving, Luang Paduan noticed the tear in the robe and was struck with pity for his nephew. So he got up, opened a cabinet, and handed his nephew something, saying, "Here. Sew that up. Don't go around wearing a robe all torn like that." Disappointed, Novice Firm had to quickly accept the needle and thread from Luang Paduan's hand. Why do they suffer? A middle-aged lady once came to pay respect to Luang Paduan. She described her situation in life, saying that her social position was good and she had never lacked for anything. She was upset, though, over her son, who was disobedient, disorderly, and had fallen under the influence of every kind of evil amusement. He was laying waste to his parents' wealth, as well as to their hearts, in a way that was more than they could bear. She asked Luang Paduan to advise her on an approach that would lessen her suffering, as well as getting her son to give up his evil ways. Luang Paduan gave her some advice on these matters, also teaching her how to quiet her mind and how to let go. After she had left, he commented, "People these days suffer because of thoughts.